Hello and welcome in. My name is Aiden Shields and I am the sports moron. I'm going to be talking about the Robbie Anderson trade. He was just traded from the Carolina Panthers over to the Arizona Cardinals. I don't really love this trade because, in my opinion, neither team really is getting anything of value here, and I'm just kind of going to explain why. So, this past Sunday, Robbie Anderson got into a verbal confrontation with some coaches on the sidelines during their Week 6 loss, 24-10 against the Rams. He said in a post-game interview that he was just frustrated and upset with the amount of targets that he was receiving. He really just wants to win games, and he thought that the more targets he got, the better chances the Panthers had to win that game. Personally, I disagree because he is a very one-dimensional wide receiver. He's like Deshaun Jackson light. He can run really fast in a straight line, and that's really about it. He doesn't have a real complex route tree. He doesn't have the best hands. He doesn't have an absurd catch radius. He's just sort of a burner, right? He just runs in a straight line and he catches deep passes. And throughout his career, that's really where he's found the most amount of success. Now, this season, he has 13 receptions on 27 targets that have gone for 206 yards and one touchdown. That's 15.8 yards per reception, which again just speaks to how one dimensional he is. And I'm not going to say that the 14 incompletions when targeted are his fault 100%. I haven't watched every single down or every single target that he's gotten. It is more than likely a combination of good coverage, bad passes, things like that, that I'm not just going to put all the onus on Robbie Anderson. Like, you got targeted 27 times, you have to have 27 catches. That's kind of ridiculous. But to have an under 50% completion percentage when being targeted, that's terrible. It's not good. And from the Cardinals' perspective, I don't really understand how gaining more wide receiver depth really puts them in a better position to win. They've shown this year that they're just not a competitive team, and adding Robbie Anderson doesn't change that, in my opinion. He's not going to replace the production of Hollywood Brown, who's now out at least 6 weeks with a foot fracture. So I don't really understand the move. You're getting D Hop back anyway. So adding an additional receiver for the 6 weeks that Hollywood Brown is out doesn't really do anything. You still have AJ Brown, you still have Rondale Moore, and now you have D Hop back. So you have your two outside threats as D Hop and AJ Green. You have your slot receiver in Rondale Moore. I don't really know where Robbie Anderson fits in here. I don't see how this is a better opportunity for him. I don't see how it helps the Cardinals at all kind of advance. And the Panthers rebuild, yeah, I talked about it earlier this week. Like, the Panthers are in full rebuild mode. And one of the things that I was saying was I hope that they don't just blow up the team. I talked about them potentially trading Brian Burns and potentially trading Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore because those are their three most premier players on their team. But Robbie Anderson definitely had a role in the offense as a whole. And I don't just mean this season. He was underproductive this season, but last season going forward, you would imagine that he would have some sort of role. But they just decided to ship him off to Arizona. And they really didn't get anything in return for him either, which is also bizarre why you're blowing up the team to do this rebuild, but you're also not getting anything in return. So they got a 2024 sixth round draft pick. So it doesn't help them in the upcoming draft. And it's a late round draft pick anyway. So it's a low value draft capital. And then you got a 2025 seventh round pick, which is lower draft capital 2 years from now. I mean, how does that help the Panthers in any way, shape, or form? You easily could have traded Robbie Anderson to the Bears and gotten a fourth round pick or a third round pick in the upcoming draft. You could have traded them to the Texans and the same thing would have happened, right? Like, there's teams out there who are wide receiver needy, who would have paid more to get Robbie Anderson into their locker room. Like the Cardinals offering essentially a big old fucking hearty handshake to get Robbie Anderson into the building. I just, who would accept that? I don't understand how that works, but neither team really benefits here. I think Robbie Anderson now is in a worse situation since he has three people right now at wide receiver who are going to be above him on the depth chart. And then when Hollywood Brown comes back, there's going to be four people above him on the depth chart. So even if he was unhappy in Carolina because he wasn't helping the team win, now he's going to be in Arizona where he's still not going to be helping the team win. I mean, nobody gained from this trade. It was a net zero sum game, in my opinion. So I don't know. This just seems weird and kind of stupid, in my opinion.